Welcome to the Einstein Analytics keynote. My name is TJ Wynn. I'm a product marketer on the Einstein Analytics team. I'm really excited to be here today. We do have a ton to go through in 30 minutes. We did the same presentation at Dreamforce a few weeks ago, and it was 60 minutes. They gave me 30, so thanks, guys. So I'm going to jump into hyperspace, hyperspeed a few times here to get through it all. So bear with me. We have a lot to go through in a little bit of time. Before we go any further, the message from our legal team, our forward-looking statement, please remember to make all of your purchasing decisions based on the products and services that are currently available in the market today. Next, we always like to start with a thank you. A thank you to our customers in the room, to our partners, to our community members. We know that we wouldn't be where we are today as a company if it weren't for all of you. And we really do thank you for your feedback. It's your feedback that drives our roadmap forward, that drives all of the innovations that you're going to see in this presentation today. So thank you so much. And we know as business leaders that you have questions. Questions usually that are something like, how do I grow my business, right? How do we grow the top line, reduce our churn, reduce our costs, and make sure that we continue to scale, right? How can we close our deals faster? How can we close more deals? How can we raise CSAT, reduce churn? There's a number of commonalities between all of those questions, but at the high level, we're trying to figure out how can we learn more and do better faster, right? How can we be proactive? It's imperative that we have predictive intelligence within our Customer 360 platform, whether you're doing sales or service or marketing, to really help us drive these outcomes forward. It's important that we have analytics and AI right there by our side to help us maximize the outcomes for our business. Like I said, just those questions we looked at a second ago, whether it's CSAT or churn or sales that you care about most. And your playbook looks a little bit something like this. We want to create this virtuous cycle of innovation fueled by insights. I know it's a lot of buzzwords on one screen, so I'm going to unpack it for you. At the top, we have our better outcomes. Again, we just talked about those a second ago, but then we want to work our way backwards and think about, okay, if I know what I want to maximize or minimize, next I want to figure out what does that intelligent guidance look like for my end users, for my sales teams, for my service teams, and how do I bake that intelligence into the apps they're already using? And then the data piece, how do I pull together all the right data to feed those insights that then feeds into better outcomes, and then it becomes that virtuous cycle, that feedback loop that continues to iterate. And let's not forget about superhero Einstein, my favorite Einstein. Einstein is there to help you, to help augment your skills, to really speed up the process, to help you go from data to insights. So over the last year or so, our teams have been hard at work to make sure we bring the best tools together to help you create this cycle in your businesses. We took BI, we brought it together with AI, we made it native to Salesforce, and then we call that Einstein Analytics Plus. So let's take a look under the hood. That's what we're going to focus on during this presentation. So what do you get with Einstein Analytics Plus? Well, it's really important that we have rear view analytics, that we're looking at how our business has been doing over time. But many of you are already doing this today and doing it pretty well. We also need to be able to look into the future. Again, predict churn, predict CSAT, predict sales. That's how we be proactive, right? So what might that look like inside of your business process? Well, here's an example. This is in Einstein Analytics for financial services, specifically a wealth management use case. And what you're seeing here is predicted churn. So as a wealth manager, I know I'm at the risk of losing some of my high-value customers. I can now get ahead of that and make sure that I'm growing my book of business, not losing business. So we need KPI reporting, but we also need intelligent apps. When I think about this, I think about, has anyone ever used MapQuest? Yeah, right? MapQuest versus Waze. So MapQuest was a static snapshot in time. Here's a list of instructions, and here's when we think you're going to arrive. But now with Waze, it's real-time, in-context guidance, right? It's predictive. Here's actually what's happening on the road right now, and here's how you can get around it to improve your outcome. In this case, getting to where you want to be faster, right? So what might that look like inside of a business application? So here we are in Sales Cloud. And on the right-hand side, what you're seeing is a predicted days to close. But not only the prediction, again, just like Waze will give you recommendations, I'm seeing a recommended action in order to improve my days to close. And I'm also seeing a bit of the why. What are the factors that are driving the model? Outside of Salesforce, you can also deploy these predictions into other applications. We know you're not always in Salesforce, so you're seeing predicted days to close now embedded in a PricewaterhouseCoopers external staffing resource that we're going to talk about in a bit. And then we also know that you're not always at your computer, right? Maybe you're a sales rep, you're sitting in the car about to go into a customer meeting. You need the same intelligent guidance when you're on the go, on mobile. So you need charts, but you also need narrative stories. A chart doesn't always tell the full story. You want to understand exactly what's happening underneath and what's the why behind the data that you're seeing. So let's take a look at that. Here we're looking at a loan analysis, and I'm seeing the chart on the right-hand side, but rather than having to dig through all of those insights myself, I'm also seeing in plain English on the left, Einstein is extracting some of those insights and making it really clear to me what are the factors driving loan approval in this case. Right? So we need generic reports and dashboards, right? Really great for heading into a team level meeting where we're all looking at the same things. But if I'm a sales or a service rep and I show up to work in the morning, I don't want to see that generic report that the entire company sees. I want to see what I care about most. And so we developed a watch list that shows you only the KPIs and trends that matter to you, that help you better, to make you better at your day-to-day work. And thousands of our customers are really paving the way with augmented analytics. We have one of our customers here with us today. He's going to join me on stage in just a little bit from Nomura. We're excited to have him. So the next part of our discussion, we're going to laser in on the insights piece. Again, the tendency with this, when you look at this wheel, is actually to start with the data piece. But I'm going to challenge you to actually go the reverse direction, right? Think about number one, what's the question we have for our business? What's the outcome? But then what does Waze look like for our CRM users, right? What does that intelligent guidance system look like? How am I going to infuse insights into the apps that they're using each day? So let's start by talking about the insights piece. And in order to help you, again, create that intelligent experience within CRM, we developed Einstein Analytics Plus. It's the complete analytics platform built on Salesforce. The AI is built in. It's connected and native to all of your Salesforce experiences. When we say it's a complete platform, why we say that, it's helping you understand what's happening, but also the why, what could happen, so that's the predictive element, and then also the prescriptive. What can you do about it? What action can you take? And it's all built for speed and scale because it's built on the Salesforce platform. And Einstein Analytics Plus is powering over 34 million predictions each month with our customers, like the one that we're going to hear from in a bit. So what have we been working on over the past year? A couple of things. For starters, we want to improve and advance the AI capabilities inside of Einstein Analytics Plus. It's my favorite new feature. It's called Ask Einstein. So maybe you don't speak data, or maybe you don't speak chart. We just have Einstein translate for you. You simply type in a chat interface, hey Einstein, ask your question. So in this case, tell me about our sales last month. Einstein's going to serve you a personalized, in-context answer to that question, and it might even show you some variance on the answer. Well, is it net revenue you want, or is it gross revenue that you want? So then I can pick the one that I do care about most. That then trains the model even further, and I can even dive further and say, well, what about sales by state? And I can take it another level. So really excited about that feature. Next, we've been really working hard on tailored analytics. We got our start with sales and service analytics, as you'd expect. We're a CRM company, but we heard over and over again from you that maybe the way we talk about our CRM data in financial services or in manufacturing is a little bit different than the kind of core sales and service use cases. So that's why we've been hard at work to deliver Einstein Analytics for industries, a flavor for every industry. We now have Einstein Analytics for financial services, for manufacturing, for consumer goods, and for healthcare. And just like ice cream, although when I saw this slide, I was thinking it's really cold in New York, maybe we should talk about pizza instead. But the kind of same three key ingredients in ice cream or in pizza, dough, sauce, and cheese, right? The same is true with our Einstein Analytics apps for industries. You get a data platform, AI built in, and then best practice dashboards and KPIs tailored to your industry. And unfortunately, given the 30 minutes, I don't have time to go into each of these in detail, but I do have my colleague Lauren with me, and she's going to take us through a demo of Einstein Analytics for financial services. Welcome, Lauren.
Thanks, Tej. Can everyone hear me? Awesome. For this demo, I'm going to play the role of a wealth manager. And like many of you here in the room, I start my day within Salesforce, specifically Financial Services Cloud. Financial Services Cloud has Einstein Analytics embedded right where I work, so I can see main KPIs for my business. On the right-hand side here, I can see tasks that I created for myself. But specifically, I want to look into how my clients look with their churn. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Here I can see the churn risk for all of my clients across my business, and it doesn't look too bad, but I have that alert under my tasks that's telling me that I need to focus on customers with high AUM. So let's go ahead and add that filter. And when we do that, we can see that predicted churn for clients with high AUM is significantly higher. This is something that I need to know, and this is something I should be prioritizing. So let's go ahead and look at what this looks like. Einstein Analytics for Financial Services comes with a bunch of out-of-the-box dashboards and KPIs that are tailored for wealth management. I can see key areas I care about, such as who are my top clients, which of my clients are most likely to trit, and how my portfolios are going across my clients. But today, I'm focused on those clients with high AUM and high predicted churn. And here I can see that I have my short list of customers, which is great. But sometimes I don't want to search through a dashboard. Sometimes I just want to ask a question. Luckily for me, Einstein Analytics allows me to do just that. I can ask a very simple question to Einstein Analytics, such as, show me my top clients by AUM. I can then drill one step further and ask a secondary question, such as, show me top clients by predicted churn. And when I do that, I now have my top few customers that I need to think about. The first customer here, Norman Clark, he's the highest AUM customer with the highest predicted churn. So what do I want to do? I'm going to go ahead and call him. So fast forward 15 minutes, I just got off the phone with my client, and I feel really good about our conversation. So let's go ahead and pull up his record. Here I can see the account record for Norman Clark. I can see all the KPIs I care about for this customer. I can see how much they've invested with me, how long they've been a client of mine, what their goals are, and if they're achieving those goals. But on the right-hand side here, Einstein Discovery is showing me that the predicted churn has actually decreased because of our conversation. You can also see the top predicting factors that influence that. For example, I know that I need to meet with this customer more frequently to make sure that he remains happy. And lastly, Einstein also gives you recommendations that you can take. If this churn score was higher, but it's not because I just met with him, I would have a recommendation that I could take to go ahead and reduce that risk. Now, this was a lot we just saw, so let's quickly review. I started my day in financial services. I saw my homepage and I had my analytics embedded right where I worked. I found out what I wanted to focus on for the day, and then I was able to prioritize my list of clients, get on the phone with one of them, and ultimately drive my business outcome. Back to you, Teach.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Hear me? Awesome. So what Lauren just showed us was Einstein Analytics inside of Financial Services Cloud. But we know that you don't spend all of your time inside of Salesforce. You work in supply chain systems, and ERP systems, and HR systems, probably a good amount of time in Excel. And we know you need the same predictive guidance in those tools in addition to Salesforce. So that's why we're introducing Einstein Predictions, which allows you to build a trusted prediction and then deploy it in the apps that you're working in. Now what you're seeing here on the screen is something that Pricewaterhouse demoed live at Dreamforce. This is their staffing allocation app. So they use this to determine how many people to deploy on a particular project. And what you're seeing is an embedded prediction that's saying in order to close this, or the date on which you are expected to close this deal is X, right? And if I want to reduce that time, you're also seeing the predictive factors behind the model. So Einstein is telling you, if you put 6 people on this project, you reduce it by 3 days. If you put 8 people on this project, you can reduce it by 7 days. But now as the user, I understand what's going on behind the model, and I can make a really informed decision based on not only what Einstein is telling me, but also on what I know historically about my business. And to quickly recap some of the things that we just went over, all of our Einstein Analytics for Industries products, all of them available today except for the consumer goods product that is available in February, and then also Einstein Predictions, which we just talked about. And just like that, we're moving on to the next piece of our discussion. So we already have talked about the outcomes. What do I want to maximize or minimize for my business? We thought about the intelligent application, the insights infused into the business processes I'm already using. And now we want to talk about the data. How do I stitch it together? How do I find the right information to feed the insights that we just talked about? How much time do we really spend, though, actually analyzing our data? Well, I gave it away. According to IDC, only 12% of the time. And why is that? Because we're searching through the data, we're integrating it, we're working on data security, data governance. We spend very little time actually doing any analyzing. And why is that? Is it a people problem? Most of the time, it's not. Maybe some of you are smiling. Maybe it is at your companies. You can talk about that after if you want. It's also usually not a problem with the tools. All the tools you have are generally pretty good at what they do. What we see most commonly with our customers is a problem with too many tools, right? You have a tool, you have a data catalog, and then you have your ETL tools to prep the data. And then you have some kind of automation, and then you're doing visualizations and actual analytics. But that's just the analytics or the BI side of things. What if you want to now add a machine learning process to all of this? Well, guess what? We double it up, right? A new stack of tools or a new set of processes. And we know that there's a ton of friction and lost time jumping between these different systems when you have to do this. So that's why over the last year, we've really prioritized making sure that there's an Einstein Analytics data platform provided to you with all of these capabilities when you use our product. So we're going to talk about that next. So included in the Einstein Analytics data platform is a data catalog, over 50 out-of-the-box data connectors. Yes, you can bring external data in, blend it with your CRM data. We have intelligent data prep. We demoed that actually at Dreamforce last year. We have great data flows and data recipes, and we have a high-performance data store, which really kind of puts everything at speed and scale that can really handle the demands of the future. And all of this is powering over 15 trillion rows of data being analyzed in Einstein Analytics each month. Pretty incredible. So let's talk about what's new. What did we announce at Dreamforce this year? For starters, the Einstein Analytics data catalog, which really helps you to understand the relationships between your different data assets. With just clicks, you can click on fields and objects and explore the lineage of your data back to the original source. And because you're in Salesforce, you can, of course, take actions in context right where you are. And next, the high-performance data store. We talked a second ago about the separate stacks for analytics and machine learning, and then the business processes. This is capable of handling all of those different workloads. It's really fast, it's scalable, and because, again, it's built on Salesforce, all you expect from an enterprise security standpoint come standard. And some of you are thinking, well, TJ, I really don't want to move my data. I want to leave it right where it is. And so we also have something for you. We're calling it Einstein Analytics Direct Data, which allows you to query your data where it lives without moving it. We've built this capability so far for Snowflake, and next we're going to be working on Redshift and GCP. And now I'd like to bring Lauren back up, and she's going to talk about some of our data platform capabilities.
Thanks, Tej. So for this demo, I'm going to play the role of an executive. And as an executive, I need to have all of my main metrics for my business in one place. Whether or not I'm looking on my mobile device, on my iPad, or on my laptop, I need to be able to see an overview of my business. Here we're seeing an example of a dashboard that I can see on my laptop. I can see main metrics I care about, such as the growth of my business and the efficiency of my organization. But today, I want to click into growth. So let's go ahead and do that. Here I can see how my customer install base is trending by region, which is great. But wait, there's one very important piece of data that's missing here. My team recently started conducting surveys to get feedback on our products and services, and that data is nowhere in my executive overview dashboard. So let's go ahead and add it. Einstein Analytics has all the data tooling you need to connect, sync, prep, and analyze your data all within one single tool. Here we're looking at the Einstein Analytics data catalog, which Tej talked about a little bit ago, and it shows the relationship between your different data sets. It shows your relationship between your fields, your data sets, but not only that, it shows the original source for where that all comes from. I happen to know that my survey data doesn't actually live in Salesforce, and it looks like, because of my data catalog is showing me, that all of this data is connected back to Salesforce. That means I need to go ahead and bring in that survey data so it could all be a part of my dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here you can see all the out-of-the-box connectors we offer with Einstein Analytics, so you can connect any data source you want. My survey data happens to live in Amazon, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one. Then I'm going to go ahead and click the object that I want to include, which in this case is the customer survey voice data. And then I can click the fields that I want to include and preview that data set. So now that my data is ready, I want to go ahead and enhance it. And how do I do that? Here I can see my data flow that is powering my dashboard. I can see the data sources that are part of it. I can see the transforms, and I can also see the actual data sets that are a part of this. So I want to go ahead and do a join transform because we just pulled in that survey data, and I want to connect that with my account record data. So that way it's all in the same place. So here you can see that I'm adding in this different data, right? And now this looks good to me. I'm going to take the suggestion that Einstein's giving me about the join transform. So that looks good, so let's go ahead and add that. Great. Now I have that survey data we talked about in here. But there's one major problem. It's in text form and it's comments. It's not easy for me to digest. I don't have time to read through all of these different comments and try to make sense of it. I'm a busy person, I'm on the go all the time. So what do I have to do? Einstein Analytics has sentiment analysis, which actually predicts the sentiment of the comments within my survey data. So what does that mean? It'll tell me if it's neutral, positive, or negative. So let's go ahead and do that. And here we can see we now have the predicted sentiment as a part of this. So this looks great. So let's go ahead and add this to the data set, and then let's put it back on the dashboard. So now I'm looking at the exact same dashboard I started with in the beginning of this demo, right? But now I can bring in that survey data we talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I can go ahead and click the account sentiment data that I want to include. But now I need to figure out how I want to visualize it. Sometimes helping your team understand sometimes the best way to help your team understand the insights from their data is just making sure that it's easy to understand and visualize. Einstein suggests which charts I should use, and it's suggesting a pie chart. So I'm going to go ahead and click that because that looks pretty good to me. And now that I've selected that, it's time to go ahead and add the widget to my dashboard. And now I have the data back on the dashboard. So myself, the other executives at my company, we can all see the same information. So let's review. I started my day looking at my business overview dashboard, and I realized some critical data was missing. So I went ahead and I pulled in the data. I added sentiment analysis so it's easy for myself and my team to understand, and then I dropped it back onto the dashboard, ready for everyone to use. Now with that, back to you, Teach.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. And also thank you to Anthony. He's in the back. He's having a snowball fight with Astro and Cody back there driving the demo for us. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah. So what we just saw were the capabilities of the Einstein Analytics data platform. All of those things are available today, included with the Einstein Analytics products. If you're a customer of ours, you know that in the past, 100 million rows came standard with Einstein Analytics. About 6 months ago, we announced that was up to 1 billion rows of data, and then at Dreamforce, we multiplied it by 10 again, and now 10 billion rows of data comes standard with Einstein Analytics Plus. So a crazy jump in just about a year. All right, moving on to the final piece of our discussion today. To me, this is kind of the human element, the experience part of our discussion. Oftentimes, our customers come to us and they say, all of this seems really awesome, but where do we get started? It seems daunting. I got to figure out my data, and I got to figure out use cases. So what are kind of the key steps that we've honed in on over the last couple of years? Number one, really assess and be honest about your current state. Are you doing prescriptive analytics? Are you understanding kind of what's happened in the past? What about the predictive piece? What about actionability? Are you building that in automation? Right? Understanding where you are today is really going to help you figure out what you should do next. Step two, define those business outcomes we talked about in the beginning. Be really clear. Pick a single use case and get started. And three, build a culture of curiosity. This is achieving adoption. If you don't achieve adoption with your users, your analytics project is going to go nowhere. So what are some of the keys to that? Number one, invest in user experience. If I'm a user of analytics and it's adding time to my workflows, or I don't trust what I'm seeing, I'm not going to use it, right? Make sure you treat AI as a collaborator. Again, Einstein or AI is there to accelerate our processes to make my decisions better as the human making the business choices, right? And finally, agility trumps perfection. Get started. Don't worry about being perfect on day one. Opt to get started and iterate over time are some of the keys that we've seen. And now I'd like to welcome our customer, Anirudh from Nomura, up to the stage, and we're going to talk about his implementation of Einstein Analytics. So give him a hand. Hi, Anirudh. Thanks for joining me up here. Would you start by just introducing yourself and your company to the audience?
Yeah, okay. So my name is Anirudh, and I head sales technology at Nomura's global market division. I work, as TJ said, at Nomura, and Nomura is a big financial services company. It's headquartered in Japan. We provided a slew of financial services to different kind of clients, which includes retail and institutional clients. Institutional clients usually include pension funds, mutual funds, corporates, etc. The international division of Nomura is primarily focused on banking, wholesale banking, which is investment banking, and global markets. Global markets division is what I'm part of, which is responsible for buying and selling of securities.
Great. Well, the context is really helpful, so thank you. Why don't we start? We started our discussion with the audience today talking about outcomes, those questions we put up on the board.
Yeah.
What was the outcome that you focused on, the use case that your team has been focused on when implementing analytics?
Right. So I think the main challenge for us was, as salespeople in the global markets division, is number one is sales productivity. So that was our number one challenge. The second one was client centricity. I mean, just remember, Nomura actually operates in different geographies. We have clients all over, and we have sometimes very, very challenging conversations with our clients, where we really need to know what kind of flows we have. And the last is really around our investment we are making on our platforms and our resources. So these are really the three primary challenges. And this is what, and I believe Einstein actually came a long way in trying to solve some of these challenges.
Great. And can you tell the audience a little bit about what your life before or without Einstein Analytics looked like? How were you doing sales productivity before?
So before that, and I'm sure there are people from different industries, and we had a slew of tools. We had, like, just to give you an example, we had about 200 to 300 reports being rendered. We had different platforms, people using the CRM platform, which was a homegrown platform for one thing, and then using another platform for getting insights into the data, right? And what we actually ended up doing with Salesforce, and especially with Einstein Analytics, was really we were able to put it all together. And I think really the key thing was putting 100 to 200 reports, let's say, into one Einstein Analytic dashboard, which is great, with different kind of filters, etc. So we could really combine a lot of functionality into one, and which was very, very helpful. So that was definitely one area where we focused on, and it actually went a long way because we could before we used to invest a lot of time answering questions, and especially when we are a big organization where we have limited resourcing, it was really mind-boggling. But now, after bringing in Einstein Analytics and creating dashboards which cover multitude of scenarios in one shot, really helped us. It really helped us scale. Really helped us provide that level of insight very, very quickly to our end users.
Great, and due to time, I think this will be our last one, so I'm going to combine two.
Yeah.
You've had a really successful implementation.
Yeah.
What were the keys to that, and then how can you impart some of that wisdom to the audience looking to do the same?
Yeah, so the one important thing was, as I think it has been mentioned earlier, was user experience, and focusing on adoption is very, very important, right? So in terms of user experience, we actually spent a lot of time focusing on small little things like number of clicks. And remember, I mean, we are in the market side. Time is at essence. Even the number of clicks are very, very important. So we made sure that we were able to integrate Einstein Analytics into Sales Cloud. We really spent a lot of time in terms of ensuring that the number of clicks are lesser, how users navigate. So that is one thing. And we focused on client centricity, customer 360-degree view very easily, sales 360-degree views, and most importantly, how they navigate to it. And lastly, I think the most important, I would say, is ensuring that you have executive sponsorships, sales leadership sponsorship. That's very, very critical, because I think getting senior leadership engaged and where they could answer questions using Einstein Analytics dashboard really actually helped increase adoption of the platform.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. A big round of applause for Anirudh for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're always really lucky to have our Trailblazers join us on stage. So I have 30 seconds to wrap up here. I'll be quick, I promise. You're not alone in your analytics journey. We have a number of resources for you to help you get to where you want to be, starting with Trailhead. There you can learn about all of our Customer 360 products. You can take advantage of our learning map. Just Google Einstein Analytics Learning Map, and it has tailored resources depending on where you're at in your journey. Are you doing prescriptive or predictive, or are you connecting data? We have resources according to what you're actually working on. Get connected to our community. We have almost 40,000 members active in our community. answering, asking questions. Our product managers spend a good amount of time in there. Really take advantage of that. Our in-person academies, these are fantastic. We do about 20 of these a month all over the world. They're 2 days long with our analytics experts. You get your hands on the product. I even do these regularly to make sure I'm staying up to speed with what we have going on. Reach out to your account executive and make sure you get into one of these academies. Check out our lodge. There's about an hour left, just around the corner. You can check out our free trial if you'd like. It's a 30-day free trial of Einstein Analytics. Make sure you get your free stuff on the way out, your free t-shirt at the front by filling out a survey. And with that, we will wrap it up. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.